Okay, boys and girls, it's story time. I'm going to tell you a story about a man who suddenly realized that he was rapidly aging. But what can he do about it? Aging happens to everyone. It's inevitable. We all get older, right? Well, we'll see. Okay, look, I'm not a doctor or a scientist or a researcher or a physical trainer or a nutritional coach. Now, there's a lot of those guys out there and they're all dispensing their advice. Most of them are in their 30s or 40s, and I follow a lot of them. I listen to them. They're smarter than I am, and they have more knowledge than I do. Here's what I am. I'm a 74-year-old dude who has turned his life around, and I've turned the clock back on my own biological aging. I've taken every biological aging test that I can, and they all say that I'm decades younger than my chronological age. I placed 12th in the Rejuvenation Olympics. I've slowed down the rate at which I age to only 9 months a year. I reset my biological age back to 61. That's 13 years. So what I am is a guy who's actually implemented longevity strategies into his own life and had what I consider to be amazing results. And I'd like to share what I did with you guys. It was the 4th of July, 2009, and I was getting ready to go to my ex-wife's 60th birthday party. My ex-wife and I are still the best of friends. She was born on the 4th of July, and yes, she's a real firecracker. That is no lie. I'd just gotten out of the shower, wiped the steam off the mirror, and saw my reflection. Now, my own 60th birthday was coming up in less than 2 months, and for the first time in a long time, I took a real good look at my reflection, and I didn't like what I saw. I wasn't just overweight, I was fat. I'd lost muscle, and that was just what I could see. I also knew that I had really low energy, I had a number of chronic diseases, and I just didn't feel like my old self. I was aging rapidly. I felt like everything that was worth looking forward to in my life was in the rearview mirror. And it felt like if I wanted to get back into shape, it was now or never. So I set out to lose the weight. Now, I wasn't into longevity yet, so I just had a single goal, to lose weight. And I did. It took almost a year, but I lost 55 pounds. I went from 270 down to 215. And then for the next 6 years, I yo-yoed back and forth between 240 and 215. I'd lose the weight and then put it back on. I never got back up to 270, but I saw 240 several times. And then sometime in 2017, I had an epiphany. I was setting the wrong goals. My goal was to lose weight. I'd lose the weight, reach my goal, and then I'd go back to my old lifestyle. And I'd put the weight back on. So I decided to set a new goal. And that goal was to change my lifestyle permanently. Instead of trying to lose the weight, my new goal was to eat healthy and work out, and to attempt to do that for the rest of my life. And I did pretty good. I got down to 210. I added some muscle. I thought I looked pretty good for a 68-year-old guy. Then in 2018, I came across the concept of longevity. Now, this wasn't really a new concept for me. I'd been into longevity for years, casually. One of my favorite books was Robert Heinlein's Time Enough for Love, a science fiction book about a guy who was 2,000 years old. In 1982, I read Life Extension, a book by Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw. In 1987, I read Engines of Creation, a book by Eric Drexler that had a big section on longevity. But all these books were talking about future technologies. The science was nowhere close to having a practical approach to longevity then. But by 2018, all that had changed. Longevity science had been making huge advances since about 2010. I started learning about cellular senescence, about telomeres, about epigenetics and balancing nutritional pathways, and I started implementing these strategies into my own life. And I started seeing some real changes in my body. As my body started to rejuvenate itself, it started reacting to exercise and nutrition more like it did when I was in my 20s and 30s. And by early 2019, I was down to 190. I put on over 10 pounds of new muscle and I was feeling great. So it's 2019, I'm into longevity, and I think I'm looking pretty darn good. But then I got injured working out. Actually, I got injured 3 times back to back. And so I was unable to exercise for almost a year. But eventually the injuries healed and I was just about to go back into the gym when the pandemic hit. Suddenly, nobody was going to the gym. So by late 2021, I was pretty out of shape. My weight had crept back up to 205, and I had once again lost muscle mass. I was now 72 years old, and I felt like I was once again rapidly aging. I thought that the aging process had finally caught up with me. I was still eating really good, and I was taking all my longevity supplements, but in spite of all that, I was aging, I thought. But the pandemic was now mostly over, and I decided to start exercising again. I rejoined Orange Theory, and I started doing functional fitness workouts 3 times a week. And over the next several months, the weight started dropping off, and I started feeling better. And I realized that what I thought was simply aging was in fact a lack of exercise. Happy ending, right? Well, not quite. In late 2022, I started working on my online program, the Longevity Guide. It took me about 9 months to wrap up, and by May of this year, 2023, I launched the course. And it was slow taking off. Over the last 5 or 6 months, I put everything I had into that course. Energy, money. I started stressing out over it. I started eating not so good. I started losing sleep. I stopped taking my supplements because I could no longer afford them. The one thing I didn't do was I didn't stop working out at Orange Theory. So here we are, December of 2023. Now, I kind of feel like I've fallen off the longevity wagon. Right now, I weigh about 207. I've been eating crap food because it's cheaper. I haven't been taking my longevity supplements. I'm still in pretty good shape because I'm still going to Orange Theory, but I'm not happy with where I am. And I got to thinking, yeah, I need to recommit to the longevity journey. But you know what? This would be a great opportunity to demonstrate that anyone can achieve great results at any age. For the last 5 or 6 months, I haven't been eating good, I've stopped taking my supplements, and I have been working out, but I haven't been doing any heavy lifting. Can I get back to where I was in 2019? I think I can. That was only 4 years ago, but I am 74. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a bunch of testing done. I'm going to test my body fat and lean body mass percentages. I'm going to test my biological age. I'm going to get my blood work done and check out what my biomarkers are. I'm going to take measurements and photos, all this to establish a baseline. And then I'm going to recommit. I'm going to go back to healthy eating. I'm going to start taking longevity supplements. I'm going to start resistance training. I'm going to keep up with Orange Theory. I'm going to re-implement longevity strategies and protocols, and I'm going to take you guys along with me. Every few months, I'm going to check in with you guys with photos and progress reports, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'll see some great results, and I'll demonstrate that it's never too late to adopt a longevity lifestyle, that it's never too late to turn back the clock on aging, that it's never too late to turn your biological clock back to a younger you. So I'm extending an invitation to you guys to join me on this journey. Let's see where it goes. Earlier this year, I placed 12th in the Rejuvenation Olympics. Let's see if I can do even better. If you'd like to watch one of my earlier videos about my story, my journey, watch this video right here. And if you'd like to learn more about my 12-week program, click this link right here. And that's it for me. I'm out of here. See you guys next time.